Hey everyone, welcome back. We're diving deep today. We're tackling some pretty major stuff coming out of the the Data Protection Board.
The EDPB, yeah.
Right, exactly. The EDPB. They're basically like the big dogs when it comes to data privacy in the EO.
Yeah.
And their newest opinion, well, it's causing quite a ruckus in the world of AI.
Yeah, a lot of folks are paying attention, and for good reason. This opinion really digs into some, fundamental questions about how we build AI, and the ripple effects are huge.
No kidding. We're zeroing in on three biggies today. First up, can AI models ever truly be anonymous?
Big question.
Second, can developers just say legitimate interest and use that as a free pass to use our personal data in AI?
Tricky one.
And finally, what happens if an AI has been trained on data that, well, wasn't exactly handled by the book?
Yeah, what are the consequences there?
Exactly. So let's get into it. This whole anonymity thing, the EDPB, they don't seem too convinced that AI can ever truly detach itself from the personal data it's been trained on.
Right, it's like trying to unbake a cake. You can't just magically make the ingredients disappear.
Uh-huh. Love that. So EDPB is basically saying developers can't just slap an anonymous sticker on their AI and call it a day.
Yeah.
Even if they've scrubbed obvious identifiers like names and addresses, there's still this sneaky risk of re-identification.
Exactly, re-identification. It's a bit of a mouthful.
It is. So can you break that down for us? What does that actually look like out there in the wild?
Sure. Let's say there's an AI being used in healthcare. Let's say it's been trained on patient data, anonymized, of course. You might think, okay, no names, no problem. But what if you start combining seemingly harmless bits of info from that AI, like a patient's age, where they live, maybe a rare condition they have?
Okay, I see where you're going with this.
Suddenly, you might have enough puzzle pieces to figure out exactly who that data belongs to. That's re-identification.
So even with the best intentions, supposedly anonymous data can be reverse engineered.
Unfortunately, yeah. It's a real concern. The EDPC is really stressing that developers need to go beyond just claiming their AI is anonymous. They need to prove it.
So no more hiding behind vague claims. They need to show their work.
Precisely. It's about implementing, solid safeguards, both technical and organizational, to truly minimize the risk of re-identification.
Got it. Which leads us to our next big question. Legitimate interest. Can developers use this as their reason for using personal data to build their AIs?
Well, it's not a simple yes or no.
Figured as much.
Under GDPR, legitimate interest can be a valid reason, but the EDPB is putting their foot down, especially when it comes to AI.
Really? Why is AI getting special treatment here?
Think about it. AI systems, by their very nature, they gobble up huge amounts of data. And not just that, they process it in crazy complex ways. So the stakes are much higher when it comes to data protection.
Ah, so the EDPB is saying legitimate interest needs to be scrutinized way more closely with AI. Makes sense.
Exactly. They're not messing around. So what does that scrutiny look like? Well, to even consider using legitimate interest for AI, developers have three major hurdles to clear.
Three hurdles. Lay them on us.
First, they got to prove there's a genuine, real, legitimate interest in using that data for their AI. No made-up excuses.
Okay, hurdle one. What's next?
Second, processing that data. It can't be just kind of sort of necessary. It's got to be absolutely essential to achieving that legitimate interest.
So no wiggle room there. And what's the final hurdle?
The big one. People's fundamental rights and freedoms. They cannot be harmed. They trump everything.
Tough test to pass. Especially, as you mentioned earlier, when you're dealing with third-party data, right? Where people didn't directly give consent for their data to be used.
You got it. The EDPB is really looking out for folks who might not even know their data is being used to train an AI. It's all about protecting those individuals.
Makes sense. Now, let's shift gears a bit. The EDPB also flags some pretty specific risks that come with AI, stuff they're really worried about.
Yeah, they got pretty specific.
So let's unpack those. What are they most concerned about?
Well, one biggie is discriminatory outcomes. AI can pick up and even amplify any biases lurking in the data it's trained on.
Oh, right. It's like garbage in, garbage out.
Exactly. Think of like a hiring algorithm. If it's trained on biased data, it could unfairly penalize candidates from certain backgrounds.
And those biases might not even be intentional on the developer's part, right? It could just be baked into the data they're using.
That's right. And that actually makes it even trickier to catch and fix. The EDPB is making it clear. Developers need to be proactive. They got to be actively searching for and mitigating any potential biases in their systems.
So no more pleading ignorance.
Nope. It's all about taking responsibility.
Got it. What other risks are keeping the EDPB up at night?
Another one is what they call regurgitation. This one's especially relevant for generative AI models, things like chatbots.
Oh, right. Those things that can hold conversations and write stuff.
Yeah, exactly. So the worry is that these models might accidentally spit out personal data that they were trained on.
So it's like the chatbot has a memory slip and blurts out someone's private info.
Exactly. A worst case scenario for data privacy. The message from the EDPB is loud and clear. Developers need to build in super strong security measures to prevent any data leaks like that.
No leaks allowed. Makes sense. But it's not just about individual privacy, right? There's also, like, the bigger picture, societal risks to think about.
You got it. The EDPB is also concerned about the potential for AI to be used for, well, bad stuff. Things like creating deepfakes to spread fake news or manipulate people.
Yeah, that's scary stuff.
No kidding. These are serious issues that need to be addressed on a much larger scale.
Okay, so lots to think about. But let's get down to the nitty-gritty here. What happens if someone's built an AI on data that was obtained illegally or maybe just wasn't handled properly? What are the consequences?
The EDPB didn't mince words here. They're serious. The authorities, they have some real teeth. They can order the deletion of that illegally obtained data.
Whoa, that's serious. Anything else?
They can demand the AI model gets retrained from scratch.
Ouch.
And in the most extreme cases, they can even order the entire model to be destroyed. Gone.
No more Mr. Nice Guy. It seems like the EDPB is setting a super high bar for anyone developing AI in Europe. Lots of emphasis on transparency, accountability, and really thinking about data protection up front.
Absolutely. They're sending a clear message. AI innovation can't come at the cost of fundamental rights and freedoms. It's got to be done responsibly.
Right on. Well, there you have it, folks. A deep dive into the EDPB's latest stance on AI and data protection. Definitely some food for thought.
Lots to consider.
So here's a question for everyone listening. Do you think these tighter regulations, will they stifle innovation? Or will they ultimately lead to AI development that's more responsible, more ethical, and more trustworthy? What do you think? Thanks for joining us on this deep dive.